The sun had just risen over the quiet farmland when Adam stepped out of his small wooden house. He was a simple farmer who had lived on this land since childhood. His days followed the same pattern every year. Wake up early, feed the animals, check the fields, and repair whatever the weather had damaged. Life was not easy, but it was honest, and Adam was proud of it. That morning felt different. The air was cooler than usual, and a strange silence hung over the land. Even the birds seemed quieter. Adam grabbed his old shovel and walked toward the far corner of his field, a place he rarely visited because the soil there was rocky and hard to farm. As he walked, his eyes caught something unusual. Near the edge of the field, a large boulder sat half buried in the ground. He had seen it many times before, but today it looked different. A long crack ran across its surface, wide enough to slide a hand into. Adam stopped walking. He stood there for a long moment, staring at the crack. His heart began to beat faster. He did not know why, but something about the broken stone made him uneasy. The land had not seen strong storms recently. There was no reason for such a deep crack to appear overnight. Adam slowly stepped closer and placed his hand on the cold surface of the boulder. The stone felt old, older than anything else on the land. He leaned closer and looked inside the crack. At first, he saw only darkness. Then, as his eyes adjusted, he noticed something that made him pull back in shock. Inside the boulder was not solid rock. There was space. Adam stepped away, his mind racing. Rocks were supposed to be solid. This one was not. He walked around the boulder, inspecting it from every angle. The crack ran almost from top to bottom. It looked like the stone had split open from the inside, not the outside. Curiosity slowly replaced fear. Adam returned to his house and brought a flashlight. When he shined the light into the crack, the beam disappeared deep inside. The inside walls were smooth, not rough like natural stone. That alone told him something was very wrong. He felt a chill run through his body. This was not normal. Adam knew his land well. His father had taught him everything about it, from where the soil was richest to where stones hid beneath the surface. His grandfather had done the same for his father. None of them had ever mentioned a hollow boulder. He spent the next hour carefully clearing dirt and grass away from the base of the stone. As more of it was exposed, the crack grew wider near the bottom. Adam could now see that the boulder was not one solid piece. It looked like two massive stone halves pressed together. At the center, faint markings were carved into the stone. Adam wiped away dirt with his sleeve and leaned closer. The markings were not letters he recognized. They were symbols, carved with careful precision. Whoever made them had known exactly what they were doing. Adam swallowed hard. This was no ordinary rock. By midday, Adam made a decision. This discovery was too big to keep to himself. If something dangerous was hidden inside, he needed help. He locked his house and drove his old truck into town. The town was small, with one main road and a handful of shops. Everyone knew Adam. When he walked into the local office, people looked up in surprise. He spoke to the town clerk, a calm older man named Ben. Adam explained everything. The cracked boulder, the hollow space, the strange markings. Ben listened without interrupting. When Adam finished, the clerk leaned back in his chair, his face serious. "This is not something we can ignore," Ben said. "I will make a few calls." By evening, word had spread. The next morning, Adam woke to the sound of engines outside his house. Several vehicles were parked near his field. Men and women stepped out, carrying equipment and wearing serious expressions. They were experts from the city, people who studied rocks, history, and the land itself. Adam stood nearby, feeling small as they surrounded the boulder. One of the experts, a woman named Laura, examined the crack closely. She ran her fingers over the symbols and frowned. "These markings are very old," she said. "Much older than this farm." Another expert, Mark, used a scanning tool and stared at the screen in disbelief. "There is a chamber inside," he said. "A large one." The group fell silent. Adam's heart pounded as he listened. "How can a stone hide a chamber?" Adam asked quietly. Mark shook his head. "It should not be possible. Not naturally." The experts began setting up equipment. They measured, scanned, and recorded every detail. Hours passed as Adam watched, unable to look away. Then Laura turned to him. "Adam," she said, "did you ever hear stories about this land? Old stories. Legends." Adam thought for a moment. His grandfather used to tell stories by the fire. Most were about hard winters and lost crops. But one story came back to him now. "He said the land was special," Adam said slowly. "That it was protected. He never explained how." Laura exchanged a glance with the others. By late afternoon, the experts agreed to open the boulder further. They worked carefully, using tools designed not to damage ancient structures. As pressure was applied, the crack widened with a deep sound that echoed across the field. Adam held his breath. With a final shift, one side of the boulder moved slightly. A rush of cold air escaped from inside. The experts stepped back in shock. The air smelled old, like dust and stone untouched for centuries. Laura raised her flashlight and aimed it into the opening. What the light revealed made everyone freeze. Inside the boulder was a stone chamber, perfectly shaped. At its center stood an object resting on a carved base. It was not gold or jewels. It was something far more unsettling. It looked like a sealed stone container, covered in the same symbols carved on the boulder. The markings glowed faintly under the flashlight, as if reacting to the air. No one spoke. Adam felt his knees weaken. "This should not exist," Mark whispered. The experts backed away slowly, their faces pale. Years of study had not prepared them for this. Laura turned to Adam, her voice shaking. "We need to stop," she said. "This is beyond a normal discovery." As the sun began to set, the chamber remained open, its secrets still hidden within the stone container. The experts secured the area and told Adam to stay away until further notice. That night, Adam sat alone in his house, staring out the window toward the dark field. His land, which had once felt safe and familiar, now felt like a stranger. He did not know what was inside the stone container. He did not know why it was hidden there. But one thing was clear. The cracked boulder had changed his life forever. And this was only the beginning. The night passed slowly for Adam. He slept little and woke often, listening to every sound outside his house. The land felt different now, as if it was watching him. When morning finally came, the field near the cracked boulder was already busy. More vehicles had arrived during the night. Lights, cameras, and tents covered the area. The experts had returned with more people, all serious and focused. Adam stepped outside and walked toward them, unsure of his place among so many strangers. Laura noticed him and walked over. "You did the right thing by telling us," she said gently. "What you found is very important." Adam nodded but said nothing. His eyes kept drifting toward the open stone chamber. A strong barrier had been placed around it, and guards stood nearby. Mark was giving instructions to a group of workers. Tools were arranged carefully, and every movement was slow and controlled. This was no rushed operation. By mid-morning, the experts gathered around a table covered with maps and notes. Adam stood nearby, listening. "The symbols match nothing we have seen before," Laura explained. "They are not tied to any known culture." Mark added, "The stone container inside the chamber is sealed in a way that suggests it was meant to stay closed for a very long time." A quiet man named Paul, who had joined them from the city, leaned forward. "Or until the right time." The words hung in the air. Adam shifted uneasily. "What does that mean?" he asked. Paul looked at him. "It means someone wanted this found. Not by accident." The team fell silent again. They decided to carefully move the stone container out of the chamber. Special lifting equipment was brought in. Every step was recorded. Adam watched as the container was slowly raised from its base. It was heavier than expected. The equipment groaned under the weight. When it finally rested on the ground outside the boulder, everyone stepped back. The container was taller than Adam and shaped like a narrow pillar. Its surface was smooth, cold, and covered in symbols that seemed to shift slightly when the light changed. Laura reached out but stopped herself before touching it. "We will not open it here," she said firmly. "This land is not prepared for what might happen." Adam frowned. "What could happen?" he asked. Laura met his eyes. "We do not know." The decision was made to move the container to a secure research center. But moving it would not be easy. The stone was ancient, and no one wanted to risk damage. As preparations continued, Adam was asked to share more about his family history. He sat with Ben and Laura inside a tent while others worked outside. "My grandfather always respected this land," Adam said. "He said some places should not be disturbed." "Did he ever mention a stone?" Ben asked. Adam shook his head. "Only that the land protected something important." Laura wrote notes quickly. By afternoon, a strange problem appeared. The equipment began to fail. Batteries drained faster than expected. Screens flickered. One device shut down completely. Mark frowned as he checked the machines. This should not be happening. Paul looked toward the container. It might be reacting. The experts exchanged worried glances. Adam felt a sudden pressure in his chest. The air seemed heavier, harder to breathe. Then it stopped. Everything returned to normal. No one spoke for a long moment. "That settles it," Laura said. "We move it tonight." As the sun dipped lower, the team worked faster. A heavy transport vehicle was brought in. The container was carefully secured, surrounded by protective layers. Adam stood nearby, torn between relief and fear. When the vehicle finally pulled away, carrying the stone container with it, a strange calm settled over the field. But it did not last. That night, Adam was woken by a low sound. It felt more than it sounded, like a deep hum passing through the ground. He rushed outside. The field was quiet. The boulder stood empty, its chamber dark. Then Adam watched in shock as faint lines of light appeared along the cracked stone. The symbols carved into the boulder began to glow softly, just like those on the container. Adam backed away slowly. The glow faded after a few seconds, leaving the stone dark once more. The next morning, the experts returned looking disturbed. Laura had dark circles under her eyes. "The container changed during transport," she said quietly. Mark showed Adam a photo. The symbols on the container had shifted slightly, forming new patterns. "It is responding to being moved," Mark said. "As if it knows." Adam felt cold. "Knows what?" "That it has been taken," Paul replied. The research center reported strange readings. Temperature changes. Magnetic shifts. Nothing dangerous yet, but enough to worry everyone involved. The experts debated their next step. "We may need to open it," Laura said. "Leaving it sealed could be worse." Adam's heart sank. What if opening it is what causes trouble? "That is the risk," Laura admitted. "But keeping it closed might also be a risk." Before a decision could be made, an unexpected event changed everything. A message arrived from the research center. The container was no longer completely sealed. A thin crack had appeared along its side. Adam felt his stomach tighten. That evening, the team gathered again, their mood tense. "We will open it tomorrow," Laura said. "Under full control." Adam wanted to protest, but he knew he had no authority here. Still, something deep inside him told him this was wrong. He returned home early and sat by his window, staring at the dark field. He remembered his grandfather's voice. Some places should not be disturbed. As night fell, the hum returned, stronger this time. The ground vibrated slightly. Adam rushed outside again. The cracked boulder glowed brighter than before. At the same moment, far away, the container at the research center responded. Inside the sealed room, sensors spiked. Alarms sounded. The container began to open on its own. By morning, the experts arrived at Adam's farm with urgency in their eyes. "It has begun," Laura said. Adam looked at her, fear and determination mixing inside him. "What was inside that stone?" he asked. Laura took a breath. "Something that was meant to sleep." Adam turned toward the boulder, knowing deep down that the land was waking up along with it. And whatever was hidden inside the stone container was not finished yet. Morning light spread across Adam's land, but it brought no comfort. The field felt tense, as if the soil itself was holding its breath. Adam stood near the cracked boulder as the experts arrived once again. Their faces showed worry, not excitement. Whatever curiosity they once had was gone. Laura walked toward Adam slowly. "The container opened during the night," she said. Adam's chest tightened. "What came out?" "Nothing," Laura replied. "At least nothing we can see." That answer scared Adam more than any other. The research center had sent full reports. When the container opened, it did not reveal an object. Instead, it revealed a space, much larger inside than outside. The symbols inside glowed briefly, then faded. The container closed again on its own, but it was changed. Mark explained it in simple words. It was not holding something physical. It was holding something tied to this land. Adam looked at the boulder. The glow from the night before had left faint lines burned into the stone. "So it belongs here," Adam said. Paul nodded. "And it was never meant to leave." The team realized their mistake. By moving the container, they had disturbed a balance that had lasted for centuries. The land was reacting, not in anger, but in warning. Sensors across the area showed changes. The soil temperature shifted. Underground readings showed movement deep below the farm. Not earthquakes, but something adjusting, like a slow breath. Laura made a decision. "We must return the container. Today." Heavy vehicles turned back toward Adam's farm. The container arrived by afternoon. It looked darker now, less smooth, as if the stone had aged overnight. As they placed it near the open chamber, the ground trembled slightly. Adam steadied himself. The symbols on the boulder and the container began to glow together. Everyone stepped back. "This land remembers," Paul said quietly. "It remembers its purpose." The experts worked quickly, lowering the container back into the stone chamber. The moment it touched the carved base, the glow softened. The air felt lighter. But the work was not finished. Laura turned to Adam. "This land chose you," she said. "Your family protected it without knowing how. Now it needs a guardian again." Adam felt the weight of her words. He was a farmer, not a keeper of ancient secrets. Yet the land had trusted him first. "What do I need to do?" Adam asked. Laura explained that the container was a seal, not a prison. It kept something asleep beneath the land. Not a creature, but a force. A force that shaped the ground, the seasons, and the balance of life in the area. Long ago, people had learned how to protect it, then disappeared, leaving only stone and silence. "The seal weakens if the land is harmed," Mark added. That crack appeared because the balance shifted. Not suddenly, but slowly over many years. Adam thought of the land. The droughts. The changing weather. The way farming had become harder. "So the land is tired," Adam said. "Yes," Laura replied. "And it needs care, not control." The experts sealed the boulder again, fitting the stone halves together carefully. The crack closed, leaving only faint marks behind. The chamber disappeared from sight, hidden once more. As the final stone settled into place, a calm spread across the field. Birds returned. The wind moved gently through the grass. The equipment powered down without failure. That evening, the experts gathered one last time. "We will record this as a natural anomaly," Laura said. "The truth stays here." Adam nodded. He understood why. Some knowledge was not meant for the world. The team left the next morning. Trucks rolled away, taking lights and tools with them. Silence returned to the farm. Adam stood alone near the boulder. It looked ordinary again. Just another stone in a wide field. But Adam knew better. Days passed. Then weeks. The land began to change. Crops grew stronger. The soil held moisture longer. The hard rocky corner of the field softened, becoming fertile again. Adam worked as he always had, but now with greater care. He avoided heavy machines near the boulder. He planted trees along the edges of his land. He listened to the ground, watching for signs of stress. At night, he sometimes felt a gentle hum beneath his feet. It was not frightening anymore. It felt steady, like a heartbeat. One evening, Adam found an old notebook among his grandfather's belongings. Inside were simple drawings of symbols that matched those on the boulder. His grandfather had known more than he ever said. On the final page was a single sentence. Protect the land, and it will protect you. Adam closed the notebook, understanding at last. Years later, people would talk about how Adam's farm never failed. How storms passed around it. How crops survived when others struggled. Some called it luck. Others called it skill. Adam never corrected them. He knew the truth. Beneath the cracked boulder, the land slept peacefully once more. Not trapped, not controlled, but respected. And as long as Adam lived, it would remain that way. The farmer had found a cracked boulder. What he found inside did not change the world. It changed how he cared for it.